So we just heard Alex's explanation of some of the same concepts that I'm going to get into. He doesn't use the phrase SVO, but he does refer to independent clauses and complete sentences. So, like I said, those are roughly, approximately the same thing. It means there's a subject, a verb, and an object, and you can make it into a complete sentence. It's a complete thought that expresses an action and who's doing the action and who's having the action done in one unit. So let's take a look at a graphic. The graphic starts with two separate SVOs, right? It was cold outside. I put on my jacket. Now, the rest of this graphic shows different ways these two SVOs, or two independent clauses, could be put together. The second sentence is the incorrect way. This is what's called a comma splice. I'll have more on that in a minute. A comma splice means you just take a comma and jam two SVOs together, and that is a mistake. You're not allowed to do that. Now, in normal life, when we speak, just everyday speech, this might be the way you would write it down. Maybe a character in a novel might have a comma splice like this, but for formal writing, we want to find other ways that are seen to be correct. And so the last two examples are other ways of joining these two SVOs. The third, it was cold outside, comma, so I put on my jacket. There's that word so. That's the linking word. Alex made reference to these, right? That if you have a comma and then that linking word, it could be something like and. It could be a word like but. It could be, in this case, a word like so. These short linking words, that works perfectly well with a comma, and that is correct. At the very bottom here, the fourth example, we have, I think, the first semicolon we've looked at. Now, I'll have a separate video on semicolons, but this will introduce the idea. It was cold outside, SVO, semicolon, I put on my jacket, SVO. A semicolon can join two SVOs in a way that a comma cannot. The thing you have to look out for is the two SVOs have to be related in terms of what they're talking about. So you can't just say, I would like to be president of the United States. Germany's stock market just crashed. Those two sentences, or SVOs, or independent clauses, they can't be joined with a semicolon because they're not about the same thing. Notice in this case here, it was cold outside, semicolon, I put on my jacket. The jacket makes sense because it's cold outside. Here we have examples of what are called sentence fragments. And you'll see, after I go through this, you'll see how this is related to comma splices and SVOs. So we begin, I enjoy Burger King because of the price, taste also. So as I've noted here, I enjoy Burger King is actually a complete SVO, and that is okay. It has a subject, a verb, and an object, right? It works as a complete sentence. It is an independent clause. But these last two parts, because of the price and taste also, these are not complete SVOs. As you can see, if you just saw the two words taste also on their own, it's not clear what the subject is. It's not clear what the object is. There's sort of a verb there that's tasting, but that is also unclear as to what's being tasted, who's doing the tasting. And same with this fragment because of the price. Who is saying this? Who's worrying about the price? How does the price relate to anything? So these are sentence fragments. And these are not something we can have in formal writing. So to bring it back to what we just talked about, look at the last two examples, which show perfectly correct ways of expressing the same thought. I enjoy Burger King, period. The price is good, comma, and so is the taste. Okay, I did not do this on purpose, but it's a perfect example of typos. Do you notice how there's no period after taste? See, it happens to the best of us. The point is to notice it at some point and then change it before other people see it. But I'm going to keep this in because it's good for you to see that your writing instructor will have typos now and then on his cue cards, so to speak. So I enjoy Burger King, period. The price is good, comma, and so is the taste, period. That's one way of doing it. And notice that that has the comma and then that linking word, and, just as in Alex's example. Another way to do it would be to use a semicolon. I enjoy Burger King, semicolon, the price and the taste are good, period. Each is an SVO. Each is a complete sentence, could be a complete sentence on its own. And each is an independent clause. I enjoy Burger King, semicolon, the price and the taste are good. So these are all ways of expressing the same information. But to go back to that top example, I enjoy Burger King because of the price, taste also. That's really almost like someone recording exactly the words we would say in casual conversation to each other. So those are a string of words that people would say. People speak in sentence fragments. But when we come to formal writing, we want to get these grammatical best practices going. All right, so I will leave you with one example here, and I'll just put this graphic up and take a look at it and ask yourself what is going on here in terms of the vocabulary we've been talking about. A Walmart superstore should not be built in our town. It would increase crime. So I won't reveal the correct ways to do this sentence, but why don't you think to yourself, how can this, or what's the problem here, first of all, with this comma? And what are two ways that we could change this sentence to make it correct for formal writing? And I think that will do for now. I've begun introducing the semicolon here. We've looked at how to use a comma with a linking word. In the next video, we will look at what I think is sort of the second most common use of a comma, other than this linking word use. And you also have, and I assume most people are pretty comfortable with this, commas used in lists of things, which Alex mentioned too. Again, I'm not going to go into all of the other roles that Alex talked about, but if you have questions about them, that's exactly the type of thing to bring up in a discussion. So on to the next video about commas.